What's going on, everyone? This is my 2011 Toyota Avalon Limited. I picked this up in August of 2021 with about 160 or 165,000 miles. I don't exactly remember, but since then I have put 30 to 35,000 miles on it. I'm sitting at 196,600 and change. And I figured I want to do this video while the weather's still a little bit warm and I can be outside for an extended period of time without freezing myself. So not quite 200,000 miles yet, but I figured it'd be a great talking point of long-term ownership. See a lot of people talk about reviews after they've had it for just a short period of time, but I know people are interested to see how it lasts over a longer period of time, like how it lasts after having it a year, 2 years, 20,000, 30,000 miles. So I'm gonna kind of speak on my experience with it. Now, the car's been great. Let's talk about the pros first. The car has been great. Okay, it's smooth, it's powerful, it's quiet, it gets where I need it to go, it's reliable, and it does it in decent style. Obviously that's subjective. Different people are gonna have opinions on what they feel is a stylish car and what they feel like looks good and sits well. But I think the car does it in style. I love the 2011-2012 facelift version of the third gen, and I just think it's like a perfect, they just did it right. Okay. Horsepower, I think it's between 260 270 horsepower, which is pretty good for like a mid-sized sedan. This thing can get up and go. You're not going to have a problem merging onto the freeway. You're not going to have a problem getting out of like a situation you need, anything like that. With that, it has a 6-speed automatic transmission, which is fairly reactive. Like, it's not super sluggish. I've definitely driven more sluggish vehicles and cars that it takes them a second to wake up. Like, this is still pretty reactive. It's just a traditional automatic. It's not a CVT, which is just a bore to drive. This thing can get up and go, and it can do it pretty quick. It's quiet. I absolutely love the fact that it's quiet. Like I said, we take a decent amount of road trips, 2-3 hour, sometimes 4-hour road trips. And it's nice to have something that's just you're not constantly being drowned out by road noise. I had a 2014 Mazda 3, and that was probably one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. But the biggest drawback to that was the fact that it was so loud while I was on the highway. And I had decent tires too. Like, I know a lot of people say like, oh, it's the tires. Like, no, those early gen Mazda 3s were just so loud. Like, the sound deadening in it was just not great. This is quiet. The tires I have on here aren't fantastic, and it's still pretty decent. These are some, what did I get? General G Max. So pretty decent tires. The wear is pretty good so far, but besides the point. The car is quiet on the road, which I like. It does what I need it to do, and I don't really have any issues with it, like, unless you're on like a rough road or anything like that, which is gonna be, loud for any type of vehicle. But this is so quiet. Next thing being the space. Like, let me just talk about the space here for a second. I have some stuff in the car, but if you haven't seen this 10 times over again, like, this is an insane amount of space. And the fact that you can, recline your seat if you need to. Let's see if I can do this with one hand and a knee. They can recline more than that, but I'm not gonna sit and try to do that. But there's a ton of space back here. I'll show you kind of the seating position since someone's there. But even this seat, the passenger seat, is pretty far back compared to the driver where I normally sit. And there's a good amount of space here. Like, there's a ton of room. And I'm only 5'8" though, 5'8" on a good day. I've had my friend who is 6'4" back there, and he reclined the seat and he was like, I'm so comfortable back here. It's so spacious, which is nice, especially not just for people, but also to just put stuff in here. We've traveled, I've even helped some people move, and the amount of things you can fit between here and the trunk, which I'm not gonna show you because it's a mess, but the amount of stuff you can fit in here is crazy. There's so much space. Another thing is that the seats are just super comfortable. They're well built. They're the perforated leather. It's held up super well. It looks a lot dirtier on video than it does in person, but there's only one tear here, which has been the same size since I got the car pretty much. Like it hasn't changed at all, I don't think. The interior's held up pretty well. I haven't cleaned the leather in probably 3 or 4 months or so. But the interior is just super comfortable. It's super comfortable to drive. Everything in terms of like ergonomics and whatnot, everything just kind of makes sense. Obviously with your like old school infotainment system here, like it doesn't work that well. I don't sit and use the navigation or anything like that. I kind of just connect my phone over here for Bluetooth. I have a charger right here, and I keep the screen off, 99% of the time. But everything works well. The sound system works well, other than the fact that I have a blown sub back there. And I just honestly haven't gone through to take the time to figure out how to replace it. I don't want to take out the chairs and anything like that. But the sound system's really good. The steering wheel, like everything feels great. Everything's held up super well, considering the fact that, that has 200,000 miles on it. Yeah, I have these floor mats over here, which I can link down below, but they fit really well. I didn't have to trim them or anything. It's like I said, it's a little bit dirty, but we're keeping things raw and real over here. I talked about the comfort. I talked about the space. I talked about the power. I can't think of anything else right now, but absolutely beautiful car. Oh, the fuel economy. The fuel economy is great. For a big full-size sedan like this, the fact that I can pull 27 miles per gallon easy, like even driving 75 or so, is great. Like obviously it's going to be less if you have like a headwind and, you're constantly going, uphill and all that. Like those things are going to change. But like on a decent road, cruising at like 70, 75, I can pull like 26, 27 miles per gallon pretty regularly. The best that I've gotten has been like over 140 miles or 130 miles. I think I pulled 32 miles per gallon, but I was going 60 miles an hour. I think I had a little bit of a tailwind, and it was just a flat, like freshly paved road. But I was like pretty happy about that. So the fuel economy is great. The power is good. It rides smooth. It looks good. I'm a big fan of the styling personally. I believe the car's aged super well, especially compared to the other third gens. I'm not a big fan of the early pre-facelift third gens personally, but I feel like this car's aged well. They just nailed it on the styling. It looks sleek. It looks modern, like it's aged super well. Like I think it's really well done, especially like the taillights. Something about the taillights, I absolutely love them. I think they look really good. But it's a big body. It's a big body car, and I think it looks pretty good. I still have, and you won't be able to see this to tell as much just because it's dirty, but it's not on this one. Yeah, you can see some over here. I have some clear coat peeling on the rims here and on some other ones as well. So that's a downside. And I just personally haven't wanted to go and buy the rims too much because you can't really tell unless you're really up close. And I like the design of these wheels. And now I want to talk about a few of the cons. It's nothing to the car itself, but I'm just going to pick a few cons of just my car specifically. One thing being, I got a cracked windshield, and this is no one's fault, really. This just kind of happens, but it started, can you even tell? I think you can tell. It started over here, and it kind of worked its way up, like all the way over here. And, there's nothing really I could do about that, and I just haven't gotten it replaced yet because I've heard conflicting information about some people saying that if you report it to your insurance, it raises the premium. And I just don't want to deal with that. I'll just wait to pay it out of pocket because I think it's like $250 or so, and I just haven't been able to do that. So that being one thing, the clear coat being another thing, and the third being the fact that the subwoofer is blown. And again, it's just another thing that I need to take time to do, but the subwoofer is back there, and I've seen a couple things. Some people say you have to take out the entire rear seats to be able to access the rear deck to then replace the sub. And some people say you can just take off like the trim, like all of this trim, and then somehow access it. I'd have to go back and watch the guy's video, but he was able to do it. And I think that I would need another person there because I don't trust myself to do it 100% by myself. So the sub is blown. Other than that, ownership has been great. The only thing that I've had to do to this car has been oil changes, okay? I do have to get brakes soon. So in the 35,000 miles, I don't know when he replaced the brakes, the previous owner, but in my 35,000 miles of ownership, I haven't had to replace the brakes. I'm sitting at 4 millimeters up front, 7 millimeters in the rear. So I have to do those soon. I've just done general oil changes the entire time. Let's see. There it is. Now the next thing is I do have a little power steering leak. You can kind of tell, like it's just messy. And I haven't gone in and gotten that fixed either. Honestly, just a little bit of negligence on my part. But other than that, everything else has been great. The battery is still great. I haven't had to replace like alternator, starter, anything like that. Everything has just been, I mean, it's just great. Like I can't complain about the ownership. I love the car. It's treating me well. If you're curious about the longevity of it, if the car has been maintained, if it has been taken care of, I wouldn't hesitate to buy it with higher miles. Me not changing the power steering like hose there, I don't think that's negligence or like saying it's bad ownership by any means. Yes, I should do it. I know I should do it. But if it has been maintained and the oil has been changed regularly and it has been checked up on, and you're not just neglecting it and running it with no oil, I wouldn't hesitate to buy a higher mile Toyota Avalon or pretty much anything with the 3.5 liter V6. It is a great car. It will take you far. It'll take you there smoothly. It'll take you there with some power, and it'll take you there with decent fuel economy as well. So that's going to be the video. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Like I said, just to show you that I'm not bluffing about being right around 200,000 miles. Let's just 196,626. That's where I'm sitting at right now. So, great car. Would recommend. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And I'll see you in the next video.